again, thank you guys for coming. My name is Asha Richards, and I am the Northeast USA rep of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, and I also serve as chair. My background is in international development, and I'm based in New York. And I will pass it on to Renae.
Good morning, everyone, or evening for people in Europe. My name is Renae Miller. I am based in the Southern District. I am the vice chair of the council, and I'm based out of South Florida, and I'm an attorney. And I'm going to pass it to Vanessa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vanessa Myrie. I am currently located in Los Angeles, and I am the Midwest representative on the council. I am a licensed clinical social worker by profession, and I'm happy to be here and welcome everyone. I'll pass it over to Stephen, and he's probably not here yet, so I'll pass it to Dominic.
Okay, so thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dominic Nash, the president of the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students, and I currently live in Jamaica, and I am the Jamaican representative on the council. Thank you. I pass it on to, is there anyone else to pass it to?
Um, I guess in the interest of time, I mean, that's the exact word that we have on at the moment, but in the interest of time, we'll just go right into it. But we'd love to get to know more of you as we go on. So, just to give a brief background about what the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council is, it is an initiative that was founded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, but it's a youth-led initiative to not only connect diaspora youth with each other, which is from ages 18 through 35, but also to empower them and connect them back to their Jamaican roots. Um, Not just like their roots, but also finding ways for them to contribute back to Jamaica if they feel to do so. And one of the biggest goals of this particular term is to create connections between diaspora youth and local Jamaican youth, because ultimately, you know, we are of one mind, you know? A lot of times, especially when you get to second, third, and fourth generation Jamaicans, you don't really have as many connections, especially our age on the island outside of immediate family. And having those networks and those connections not only foster really innovative ideas, finding like-minded individuals that are in similar fields as you, that allows for knowledge sharing and also just friendship and collaboration. So our current structure, we have an executive board, most of which we've done introductions, but we have regional representatives for the three core diaspora locations, which are the US. There are three, me for Northeast, Vanessa for West and Midwest, and Renae for USA South. We have two, well, supposed to have two, currently we have one for Canada, and two, we currently only have one, but there's supposed to be one for UK North and UK South. But this doesn't mean that members from all over the world can't join. But these are the places that the representatives on the exec board are elected to represent, and we'll get into that a bit later. However, we also have members from Jamaica on the executive board, and those specifically are heads, chairs, presidents of various youth organizations in Jamaica. For example, Dominic, I believe, is president of the Jamaican Union for Tertiary Students. We also have the chair of the National Youth Council of Jamaica and the National Youth Advisory Council of Jamaica. And together we form the executive board. And yeah, with that, also feel free if you have any questions to leave them in the chat, but there will also be a time for questions at the end. Um, that said, each for the executive members that are elected, which are the regional representatives that I had mentioned before, they are elected to their roles every 3 years. So currently, we are in the second term of the Youth Council as it was first started in 2020, and elections are actually about to take place. So we will be encouraging you guys to register. Later on in the session, we will share how you can register and if you are interested in becoming a rep yourselves, how you can go about doing that. Um, yeah. So, after going over the whole structure of the youth council, well, not the whole structure, because obviously we also have members, which I'm sure many of you had filled out the registration form. That adds you to our listservs, our email listservs. If we have any events that are coming up, you'll be the first to know. Also, depending on how the next term's executive board decide to structure things, there will be various ways for you to contribute to the running and functioning of the youth council. But yeah, with that said, we do have a major initiative that is coming up, and that is the Diaspora Youth Forum. It is the first hybrid youth forum. Okay, sure. So the registration link for the youth council, or actually, can someone drop it in the chat by chance? If you have the link. If not, I can find it.
I'll work on it, Asha.
Thanks. Um, Yes, the Diaspora Youth Forum, and this is a hybrid event that we're doing in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in Jamaica. And the goal of this is to get diaspora youth to really find out different things that they can do to connect back to Jamaica. And also, it is going to be a mixed group of local Jamaican youth as well as diaspora youth. Therefore, there will be opportunities for networking as well as some cultural events that whether that be a performance and also maybe an excursion on the day after, which the dates they are November 28th for the forum itself. And if there are excursions, it would be the 29th, which is a Saturday, November 28th and November 29th. And the goal is to engage. There will be panels and discussions on how to get connected. There will be different organizations such as the Passport and Immigration. I forgot what the whole thing stands for, but PICA, which handles citizenship and passports. And if you didn't know, actually, if you are Jamaican by descent, if your mother, father, grandparents, or great-grandparents are from Jamaica, you can apply for Jamaican citizenship by descent, and we highly encourage you to do so. So Pika will be there, a few other entities will be there. You can learn how to invest, how to start a business, how you can engage diaspora organizations, because we are just one of many diaspora organizations across the world. That are doing things in Jamaica and in the diaspora community, how you can get better engaged with those. And also, if you guys have been checking out our social media or any of our recent initiatives, we have the second iteration of the GJDYC Youth Innovation Challenge, which particularly pairs diaspora youth with local Jamaican youth to come up with collaborative and innovative ideas towards Jamaican development. And the winning team will be presenting at the forum as well. This is hybrid, but we do encourage you guys to come in person, especially for those networking opportunities. But the sessions will also be available virtually, and I can drop the link to the registration for the forum in a second.
I'll drop both of them, Asha. You could keep
Okay.
going.
Awesome, awesome. Also, for those that are unaware, if you are currently in undergrad or in grad school and are interested in a summer internship in Jamaica, full expenses paid, there is an opportunity called the Grace Kennedy Birthright Program. And this allows I believe they do one from each traditional region, one from the UK, one from the US, and one from Canada. I think there's four total, so it might not be one to one each time, but they try to make it balanced. But having a fully covered expense trip to Jamaica to do a summer internship, which goes beyond just a regular internship because you get to travel the country, you get to involve yourself in different cultural exchanges. The program is really built to foster that connection between diaspora youth and their roots, in addition to getting valuable work experience in their respective fields on the island. So applications for that are currently open. I or Vanessa will drop the link to that as well. But those are some things that you can look forward to as we come close to the end of the year. You know, we're already in October. December will come before you blink. So, those are the current initiatives that we have going on. And for ways that you guys can get more involved if you are interested, one of the easiest ways to get involved is social media engagement. Recently, someone had shared their experience on how they got their Jamaican passport or their Jamaican citizenship, but even just general content about, what being a second, third, or even first generation or international student in the diaspora means to you. Just tag us if you feel confident enough, collaborate with us, and we'll definitely share those reels. Um, Also, as aforementioned, we have our elections that are coming up. These are only open to those that are based in the UK, US, or Canada. But currently we have the registration open for anyone that, in order to vote in these elections, which they are general elections throughout the diaspora, you have to be registered with the Jamaica Diaspora Registration Portal, which is connectmeja.com. The link will be dropped in the chat as well. It will require identification, though it doesn't have to be Jamaican ID. However, you're going to need to name at least, I think, someone that, say, your grandmother, that's your relation to Jamaica. You have to say their name and general information. If you have documentation such as a birth certificate, that is great, but we also understand that, those that are third, fourth, that can be difficult to obtain. So you would need to upload your general ID, that can be a state issued ID, and your connection to Jamaica to register. And a similar process if you would like to actually join as a candidate. As aforementioned, the seats that will be up for election are the Northeast USA region, which is from the East Coast, from Virginia up through Maine. Um, the USA South, which is from North Carolina down through Florida. I think it also goes into Georgia on the East Coast. There is the Midwest and West of the US, which is basically everywhere else in the US. There are two open seats for Canada. Those are not locked to a particular region. And then, as aforementioned, there is UK North and UK South, which would include London. Um, those are the seats that would be available. We are also here to answer any questions if you would like to know more about what being a regional representative entails. Also, for those that are more forward thinking, each year the chair is selected amongst the executive board, um, is selected amongst the executive board, and each year it is voted upon within there. So, we highly encourage you guys to join if you are very motivated and have a vision of how the Youth Council can move forward. We are only 5, nearly 6 years in the making, so there's a lot of room left for to grow and also to further engage. In fact, we are extremely happy and blessed that you guys are here with us. That just shows how much that we are expanding as a council. But also, we'd love to hear from you guys as we are currently in the process of making recommendations for whoever the next executive team will be. So if you have current visions or things that you'd like to discuss, that's also part of why this town hall is here. So, those are the main things for now. And now, as we have a little over 30 minutes, I did want to, first of all, open it up to the executive board if they have anything else to add. But afterwards, open it up to you guys. Let us know a bit about yourself, but also if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you have anything that you'd like to share, please do. With that said, I know that it is a Sunday and a lot of things are happening and time is very precious. So we do want to try to keep this to an hour. So if you can kind of keep the responses, not necessarily they have to be super short, but being cognizant that other people might want to speak, we do want to end at the top of the hour if possible. But we would love to hear from you guys.
Asha pretty much went over everything. I just want to reiterate the fact of getting more people registered and out to vote for the last election. I think for Florida, for example, we had under 1,000. So for like the Southern, we're trying to get up to 2,500 people. So I'm just asking everyone to just share for people to register, for people to vote, because this actually does it does bring you back to Jamaica and your culture, and you do make a difference in the council like this. We do have meetings with the ministry, and your voice can be heard. So you might not want to do it, but if you know someone that want to do it, or reach out to them. That's how most of us ended up on the board. Someone recommended, like reached out and was like, "Hey, I think you might be interested." So if you feel like you know someone that's interested, please do that because one of the main things we have to remember, like we are the future. The foundation that is set right now is what we are doing. So if you don't want in 20 years, like, oh, we're complaining. No, we start now and we start creating our foundation now. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
I'll even piggyback on that. We aren't the future. We are the now. We're living right now. Things are affecting us right now. So definitely hop on that. I know in the Northeast, I think we only had like 70 people vote for like the youth council. And as you can imagine, with places like New York, New Jersey, there's a lot of people that just didn't know that we exist. So definitely spread the word, register if you know people that are interested. And one thing that sets us apart from other diaspora organizations is the fact that we have that direct link to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We liaise with them. If they have diaspora policy, we consult with them. If they have the biennial diaspora conference, which you might have heard of last year and they're planning for next year, it is our board that gives them the youth voice and tells them what the youth want to hear. So these are very important roles. So even if you don't want to run, your voice is very important in deciding who actually gets to make those, well, not make the decisions, but make the recommendations.
And if I want to, just going to piggyback on both Asha and Renae in saying that one of the things that I particularly love about our Jamaican community and what this Diaspora Council does is allow us to have a direct line of communication with our government. I think there's so many other diaspora groups living in the US or all over the world who they just live there, but and they go back once in a while. I think what Jamaica has going and so many other countries have looked to us to figure out how we're doing what we're doing, which is basically keeping our diaspora engaged. We see our ministers coming into either the US or Canada and engaging with our community. And it may seem like it's something that happens everywhere, but it's not. And so it's something unique to Jamaica. It's something that we're working on wanting to perfect. And the more people we get to vote in these regions, again, like Asha said, it gives us all a voice a way to be engaged in diaspora affairs.
I have a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
Nice to meet you all. Dominic is the name. Just curious, what are your current priorities as a diaspora group? And how can we as non-members or prospective members assist in that?
Okay, so our priorities as a youth council, generally it is to promote the ministry's youth, not youth specific, well, the youth segment, but of the diaspora, national diaspora policy. And specifically, our council is to encourage and empower, connect and empower diaspora youth around the world, connect them back to their roots, as well as connect them back to their roots and connect them with local youth. And the fourth would be to show and share ways that they can contribute back to Jamaica if they choose to. Um, as aforementioned, we're kind of wrapping up at the end of the year and it will be a new term. So we're not really doing a whole lot of new things at this particular juncture, but we have the youth forum. If you can promote and share, and also if you can participate, that would be great. Also, as aforementioned, if you have particular stories, such as, what being a next gen Jamaican is for you, or even being a Jamaican that's living outside of Jamaica, whether that be getting your citizenship or anything, sharing those stories. Whether that be within our WhatsApp group chat. If you guys aren't a part, then I think it should be within the registration link for the Youth Council as a whole. But if not, I can also drop that chat in the link to that WhatsApp chat in the chat, this chat. And also sharing it on social media and tagging or collabing with us. Additionally, different regional reps will have different events. I don't know if Vanessa or Renae have any events that are going on, but when those regional events pop up, I'm sure they will ask for assistance and they'll let you guys know. Like I know recently in August, I did a networking event in the DC, Maryland area, and I made a group for those that were interested in a planning committee. We planned it, executed, and great. So, yeah, I'm not sure if maybe Renae, Vanessa, or Dominic might have something to add.
I think you covered it, Asha. There was another question in the chat about how do the roles differ, the youth rep versus the other council, and can you apply for both slash multiple regions? So there are two councils. I like to think of them as the grown-up and the youth council. So the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council is primarily made up of elected reps in the regions that Asha mentioned earlier. And then there's appointed representatives just based on whatever sector they're in. So there could be an appointed member who has a lot of expertise in education or agriculture or something like that. And it doesn't necessarily matter where they live. The appointed reps can live really anywhere in the world. For the youth council, however, you have to be between ages, I think, 18 to 35 in order to register to vote, but up until 35 to be in the council. So a good example of that is that I've been on the council for 3 years. I am not eligible to run again because I've aged out of the council. So I'm over 35. To be able to be on the council. However, both of the councils work together in collaborating, and when the ministry communicates with us, it's literally as like one team, except that the youth arm has their own council, we have our own voice, and we work on our own initiatives when needed, and collaborate with the other council when needed. I hope that clears that up for you. I think that was Bliss that asked that question.
Oh, in addition to the question, no, you cannot do multiple regions. So, whatever region you're in, most of the time, that's the region that you would apply for.
Yes, just piggybacking on that. Our structure is a little bit weird in that the elected youth reps technically, the elected youth reps for the Youth Council Executive Board sit as youth representatives for the senior council, as Vanessa mentioned. But additionally, in addition to the regional reps that are elected there, as well as the sector leads, there are also appointed regional representatives for regions that are not directly covered by the Youth Council. For example, I believe there's the Africa region, there's the Latin American region, um, there's Asia and the Pacific region. So they have a bit broader of a reach. Um, yeah, and also particularly the sector leads, they do have ministry focal points that they work with directly to push certain initiatives that the particular ministry or area of government would like to promote with the diaspora. Camille.
Hello, everyone. Um, I'm a first generation American. I love being Jamaican. Um, my question is, when it comes to those who are elected, what is the financial obligation as well as like the commitments, the overall responsibilities, things of that nature? How often are you expected to go back to Jamaica? All of those things.
Okay, that is a great question, actually, and honestly, a good thing to know before signing up as a candidate. So these are completely volunteer positions. So as of right now, there is no compensation for it. While there isn't a set obligation of hours or dates sorry, don't know what's happening outside, but while there isn't a particular set amount of hours that they give, really, I think the biggest point to make out of this is that the youth council is led and shaped by the executive team. Therefore, if you want to have a whole lot of initiatives, if you want to do a bunch of events, noting that that will take time. So if that's something that you're willing to commit to, then definitely go for it. But noting that a lot of those events, if you're not funding directly yourself, as it stands now, um, then you'll have to look through partnerships, potentially like in-kind support, or also working with the local heads of missions, for example, whether that be in the Northeast region of the US, that would be the embassy, or the New York consulate. In the South, there's the consul general in Miami. Um, so things like that. Hopefully that answers your question, but also feel free to add on Vanessa and Renae.
I will. Thanks for your question, Camille. I think that's a great question. And hello to another Myrie out there. Um, so yes, in terms of commitment, I would probably say you can expect to have a meeting with the council, with the youth council itself. I think once a month. We usually meet for roughly an hour, hour and a half. We do have consistent engagement going on in our group chats because there's always something going on. There's always something that we're planning either together or within our own regions that we're constantly communicating about, or we need feedback or we need to vote on, in a sense. In addition to that, we do have quarterly meetings with the ministry. And those can sometimes be very hard. They're usually in the morning. Particularly, they're harder for me because it's smack dead in the middle of my workday or in the beginning of my workday, but we make it work. Those meetings I would probably roughly say are from two, maybe 2.5 hours every quarter. If it's a year, like next year, where the Diaspora Council is heavily involved in the biennial conference, then we probably meet more often. So that is in terms of time obligation, in terms of meetings. Then there is the time obligation in terms of what you particularly do within your own region or what initiative you choose to work on. As Asha mentioned before, as a council, we um, don't necessarily, we're not like a nonprofit where we're able to like store money or have money for events and stuff like that. So what I would recommend, or what I've done in my region, is particularly partner with Jamaica diaspora organizations, right? So any local organizations that are there and they've already have an infrastructure built in, you want to probably partner with them to do events, outreach, or any type of engagement, youth engagement that you would want to do because they already have an infrastructure built in. But to go and really try to create that on your own, it's going to be really difficult. So a lot of what you're doing with being on the youth council is networking and learning how to work with other diaspora organizations or your heads of mission in your particular region.
Renae, I'm not sure if you had something you wanted to add, but I did want to actually hop on because I remember part of your question was how many times we'd be expected to go to Jamaica. So that said, it's kind of a iffy situation. I wouldn't say iffy. I'm not exactly sure what the word is, but um ministry does hold a biennial diaspora counts diaspora conference. I'm sorry. Um, while you are not obligated to go down, it is highly encouraged and expected to a point that you'll be there. So, I would say if you are like thinking about travel, for the next term, yeah, for the
June.
next term, that would mean that there would be at least two trips to Jamaica within the 3 years. This year is the first time that they're doing a Diaspora Youth Forum. And with that being hybrid, there's also a bit of an expectation for you to be there as well. So I would say probably plan for once a year, but again, none of these are obligations, noting that these are volunteer roles, and if you cannot make it, you cannot make it. But if you're thinking and planning forward, think about once a year. Um, I had another thing that I was going to point out. Also, with that said, um, you know, groups and support makes burden light. So one of the recommendations that we will be making to the next term, the next executive team, is, kind of building out the infrastructure for, say, maybe a comms team, maybe a, engagement team. So really, it takes whatever the next term's executive board decides to reshape the infrastructure might change how much of a time commitment there would be for each individual rep. Right now we don't have a comms team, so that kind of increases our workload. But depending on the structure, it can always change. The more people involved, the easier burden is. So that's also something to think about. Renae, did you have something to add?
No, I think you guys covered it. Just that it's not mandatory and it does take some of your time, but Going to conference, I went to conference for the first time last year, and I can tell you it was an amazing experience. And also, when you're on the council, you're helping planning the conference. So when you're going to a bunch of meetings planning the conference, after a while, you want to go see what happened. So that's why so much people do it. And I would recommend to anyone, even if it's once in your term, to go experience it because it's amazing. Like the people I brought at the last conference already asking me this year, when is the next conference, and already invited more people. So it's a good event. I think they said over 18 countries attended before. So that's all I can say about that. It does take time, but it's how you prioritize it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, because I see that we have two hands,
Yeah.
but part of it is, we are coming from around the world. Us as an exec board, before the conference, we had been working with each other for well over a year, have never met each other in person. But going to the conference, we actually get to, see each other in person. How we interact on Zoom is very different. Well, not very different. I mean, we're all very kind people, but like, getting to know each other personally and making those stronger connections are very encouraging. I think that was one of my biggest, what I loved most about the going to the conference. So, all right. Hopefully that
Um,
answered your question. We can move forward with Erin.
yeah.
Evening, family. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, cool. I'm Aaron from the UK. Honestly, I'm just really excited to find out about the initiative in the first place. Just a bit about me. I've got a background in education, so I've been a secondary school teacher for roughly 7 to 8 years. And working with the young people and helping their development is definitely something I'm really keen on, as well as getting back in touch with my roots as I believe, third generation Jamaican who's just recently reconnected with that side of my family. So I'm very keen to get involved. I'm probably gonna shoot off in a minute. I got somewhere to be, but if I just introduce myself and get to know everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right, Kristen.
Hello, can you guys all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Kristen. I am second generation. Both my mom and my dad are from Jamaica, and they came to the US. And so I'm just here to learn more as well. Literally just found about this morning, and so I was like, okay, this is very interesting, wanting to learn more. And I have a question about the roles. Is there a way to learn how many roles exist in the organization and what their breakdown of their responsibilities are?
Kind of as we were describing earlier, first of all, thank you for joining. Um, the official roles are the executive board members, which are three in the US, USA North, USA Northeast, USA South, USA West and Midwest, two for Canada, and two for the UK, UK North and UK South. Technically, there are three roles for Jamaican representatives, but those are filled by presidents or chairs of um, youth organizations in Jamaica, so those aren't really up for election, at least not for us. Um, the other roles, they're not formally established. However, in the next term, the executive team can decide to create particular roles, set roles with set expectations, with set time commitments. But currently in our infrastructure, we don't have one.
Um, In terms of that, and that will also answer Lorley's question, those would be informal roles. The main roles are the roles that are in the tour that is done by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So except for the seven youth council roles, everything else would be whatever the council, the executive board decide that they will do. So Lorley was asking about the current council and joint effort with new members coming in. The council, the rules and everything of the council is created by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have a protocol, we have a book that we go by. The new council that is coming in, they will be doing, it won't be, I want to say it's like new official rules, but they will set a standard, just like when you join a club and you set a standard for how you want your term to be. So they will set standards, but it will be like social media and how to engage. In terms of for hours, we utilize social media. We normally did town halls and stuff like that, YouTube, podcast, and the new council will also continue that, but also build on that structure that we created. Because at this point, everything we're doing is building on what is created to make it better. So little things might change, but the core of the council will not change until or unless it's changed by Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Adding on to that, because I completely forgot to mention this, but we do have granted we have the forum coming up next month, but outside of the forum, we have bi-monthly calls on particular topics that relate to the diaspora. We often call on people within whether our networks or within the youth council, the greater youth council, if they're knowledgeable on this particular issue, to serve as speakers for those, as well as our podcast, depending on the topics, inviting youth council members to speak as guests on the podcast as well. Currently, we have our first two episodes out, 3 and 4 in post-production. Hopefully, they will be out soon. But those are also other opportunities to engage, and I'm sure the next term, the next exec board will take those even further than we have. Yeah.
One more thing that Laurel had asked about, like specification, and I see someone else had asked about it, like education and tourism, if you have a specific area. So while the council is general, they have focal points areas. So if you're interested in agriculture or tourism or education, there are focal point leaders, and I'm hoping in the next term there will be meetings with those focal point leaders, but there are already groups within the council where you can let them know, I'm very interested in education. How can I move this along? So I remember for this council year, they did Dr. Coley have the Mentorship Academy, which I know came back from the education focal point. So if you're on the council and you see something that's like, oh, I want to help out with that, then you can go ahead and join that part and be a mentor. So whatever area you're interested in, there's different focal points. And what's the key about it is the focal points are attached to the specific ministry. So Dr. Coley, they're attached to where they work with Ministry of Education, or you'll have someone if you're interested in agriculture, tourism, you work with those ministries as focal points. So you will be able to utilize your strengths and where you like and where you want to see grow, in addition to being generally placed.
All right. Hopefully that answered your question. Athena?
Asha, before you take Athena, can you
Yes.
take Sarah? Because she had a question earlier before Athena hand went up.
Sure.
She was asking about groups in the UK who provide education for like third and fourth generations. I was hoping you could
Um,
touch on Reconnect JA.
yes. And that question is in the chat.
Oh, it's all the way up. I missed it.
1
Yeah,
second.
it's from Sarah.
Oh, yes. So
Oh,
it's like what I said with the focal points and the separate groups where she asking about education and she likes education. So there's like a group on education within the council.
yeah. And definitely part of what, kind of touching on what Vanessa was mentioning, one thing that we have learned to do very well, but also we encourage you guys to do, there are different diaspora organizations and groups whether that be in the UK or globally, that are doing particular things, definitely bring them into the fold. You know, partnership and collaboration is key and vital to what we do. For example, we've made a few partnerships with a UK organization called Reconnect JA. Those that are in the WhatsApp chat, you'll see some of the events that they have held in the UK. But even last year, we did a volunteer event on the day of service, upcycling in Jamaica. So definitely bring them into the fold. If there are partnerships to be had, that would be great. If they need support in just blasting it out to the diaspora, that's also something that we can do.
Athena's been up for a while.
Yeah.
It's okay. Hello everyone. My name's Athena. I'm from London, UK, and my background is mental health psychosis. You both previously touched on the answer before, but I wanted to know, how do you decide which areas to focus on or priority community initiatives, and how many focal points are there currently that you're working on?
In terms, let me start and Asha finish. In terms of our youth council group, what we do is we work on our strengths. So, for example, we did a mental health session because that's Vanessa's strengths and that's her focus. We did a session on citizenship immigration because I'm an attorney. So, we try to do our bi-monthly session. We try to focus in on what each member would like to do and would like to show. And that's different from the official focal point groups, because the focal point groups is not only the youth council, but also the general council. But us as a youth council, we try to utilize each other's strength and it go. So, and Asha can continue on that.
Yeah. Uh, I would say for the youth council perspective, basically, as Renae said, kind of playing on each other's strengths, also on particular interests. For example, if there has been something mentioned in the WhatsApp chat that a lot of people are talking about, then like, okay, this is something that we need to talk about. But also, if there are people on the exec board that have particular background or interest in something, then we'll probably do like a global call on that. But also, kind of aligning with the sector leads of the senior council and the ministries that we are in contact with. So basically, as Renae said. Um, Hopefully that answered your question. Joshua?
Good afternoon, everyone. Just saying hello to introduce myself. I'm Josh Crittenden. My background, I'm an environmental scientist and engineer, currently working in the law and policy space here in Albany, New York. So I work for the Attorney General here. Appreciate you all hosting this town hall today. Means a lot, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. All right, just gonna check the chat to see if there are any additional questions. So, just to state, I put it in the chat, but also for anybody that's wondering, for anyone that would have either registered for the council as a whole or would have registered for the youth forum, because it is a Google form, there isn't an automated confirmation email, but when you're done with the form, there should be a page at the end that shows that you've completed the form. So if you don't see that page, then let us know. But you can also reach out and we can confirm if your email is there. How you can reach out to directly to your regional reps. So, our emails are listed on the ministry's webpage. I can either me or Vanessa can put that link there, but also for those of us that are on the call, I can drop my email as well.
I'll drop the ministry's website.
Okay.
And also, we're all in the main group WhatsApp chat too, so you can
Yeah,
also reach out and pull us out from the regions from there. But I'll put our regions in the chat so you can know who you need to pull from the main WhatsApp group.
definitely. And with that said, just because there's a possibility that the ministry website is not as up to date as it should be, we currently have roles for one for Canada, that is Stephen Getten. There's the Northeast USA, which is myself. USA South, which is Renae. USA West and Midwest, that is Vanessa. And we have UK North, which is Shamara Fletcher. The other seats are currently vacant, but hopefully will be filled in this next election. Drexel.
Hello, named Drexel Shaw, second generation Jamaican, and just really excited to join and hear about this group and this initiative that is going on. My subject, my subjects that I focus on is in the healthcare sector. So I'm based in the United States, out in New Jersey. Do a lot of work in public health nationally within the country. So I work for one of the largest retail pharmacy business, CVS. So anything related to health-related healthcare sector initiative partnerships would love to be brought into those kind of conversations, and how I can bring back, some of the best practices back, to back home. So I'm really excited just to be a part of this council and continue growth. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Uh, Checking through the chat. Is there any questions that I might have missed? I'm looking through, but just in case. Um, okay. Eligibility. Okay, so eligibility to be a candidate, it's pretty simple. As far as I know, you have to be of Jamaican descent. Um, of Jamaican descent that is traceable. Be of good moral standing, no police records or anything like that. Also that for the youth council between the ages of 18 and 35, and reside in one of the regions up for election. So I believe those are the main things. I don't believe I'm missing anything, Renae.
No, those are the main things. And Vanessa answered in the chat if anyone hasn't seen where it's, you need 5 recommendation. These are not official. You just need 5 person in your community to sign the form for you. So
Yeah, I don't think it was like a full recommendation letter. It was
yeah, no, it's
they
just a
needed to,
sign and put
yeah.
you sign, they put their information on it, and that's it.
Hmm.
And I am redropping, actually I posted before, but I'm redropping our WhatsApp group chat. So everyone that's on the chat, please join us on there because you'll get all the information, and you can also, tag us to different things on there if you want to ask specific questions outside of our main social medias.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I'm looking in the chat, specifically in regards to mental health. Actually, we will be sharing some information for, I think, the first Caribbean Mental Health Summit that will be happening next year. More information will be coming soon. I mean, it's not our event, but we're helping promote, so be on the lookout for that, because I'm sure they'll be happy with some volunteers and support there. Um, I believe I've hit everything. But again, feel free if you have any questions, let us know. I'll be here for the next like 5 or so minutes if you guys have any questions or need to stay back for anything. But again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you guys soon at the forum, hopefully, but also just generally within the council events. And thank you guys for your interest. We really do appreciate it.